Introduction. Welcome to the Restaurant Upselling course. This course will take you on a journey through the knowledge and tools necessary to becoming an exceptional food and beverage server, one who consistently contributes to your restaurant's success. Of course, success can mean many things, but what's the one thing every restaurant and every business across the world needs? Money. Whether you have years of experience or you're just starting out in the industry, selling is a skill that you need to conquer. And with this course, you'll acquire the expert knowledge and insider tips you need to master restaurant sales. Meet Mike. The two of you will work through this course to gain the necessary knowledge and tools that will allow you to develop and improve upon your selling skills and unlock your potential to excel in your work. Let's have a look at what you'll learn from this course. You will be introduced to 3 sales techniques: upselling, downselling, and add-on selling, and how these contribute to creating an exceptional guest experience and increasing revenue. You will learn how to profile your guests by taking into account their booking information, appearance, age, and behavior. With this information, you will learn how profiling your guests results in their satisfaction and a positive contribution to revenue. Then we'll move on to product knowledge, how important it really is, and how to become well-versed in the product your restaurant offers. Then you'll learn how to create and prepare an effective sales pitch, one that will astound guests and improve revenue. After that, you'll learn about the various opportunities you have to make sales at every stage of service. Opportunities that will ensure your guests leave your restaurant happy and see your revenue climb. And last but not least, you will learn a few practical tips that will help you on your road to success. You will be able to immediately implement these tips in your service and see the impact they have on your guest satisfaction and your restaurant's revenue. Remember, Mike's journey is your journey, so pay very close attention to what he learns, because soon you will use this knowledge to discover the secret to delivering great, lucrative service. Sales techniques. Let's begin your journey to being a successful food and beverage server with the word on everyone's mind: money. Generating money or revenue through sales is a priority for any business. As a food and beverage server, you are the direct link between your restaurant's product and its guests. But why is it that some servers constantly reach their sales targets while others trudge along just doing an average job? To answer this question, you need to understand creating a guest experience and basic sales techniques. Creating a guest experience opens the door to sales in a restaurant because it means guests feel positive and relaxed and willing to spend money. A guest chooses your restaurant for reasons beyond food alone. Convenience, expertise, and a sense of occasion are all appealing factors. Simply put, guests come in looking for an experience. Great servers understand this and know that the secret to making profit lies in creating a special experience. They observe what their guests prefer and adapt their approach to satisfy them. We'll look at types of guests and how to interact with them later in this course. For now, just remember that the way your guest feels throughout service affects the money you make. Now, let's talk about basic sales techniques. There are 3 sales techniques to master. These are upselling, downselling, and add-on selling. Upselling is an easy way to grow revenue immediately. When you upsell, you persuade guests to order an upgraded version of what they asked for to make more money. For example, when Stacy's guest orders a salmon dish, she sees an opportunity to upsell to tuna, an item that appeals to a taste the guest has already made clear, but which is more costly. Stacy recommends the tuna by enticing her guest with words like, special, and our very best, in conjunction with flavor words like succulent and caught fresh. She leaves the guest feeling as though they have to order the tuna. Now let's discuss downselling. Using this technique, you offer a more affordable alternative to an item that your guest has refused. Downselling opens the door to making a sale, when simply accepting a refusal closes the door at once. Let's look at an example. Mike offers his guests an extravagant dessert. They decline, so he offers to fetch their bill. But when Stacy's guests refuse her offer of the same dessert, she downsells by suggesting a more affordable dish or coffee. Stacy's secret is her choice of words. She makes simple, sincere suggestions without imposing on her guests. Finally, let's discuss add-on selling. Here, you suggest additions to complement a guest's initial order. Think about smaller items that enhance the dining experience as a whole and recommend them. These could be anything from a sauce on the side of a dish or an extra plate of chips to a slice of cake with coffee. They might be small accompaniments to your guest's meal, but accumulated, they add significant revenue to the restaurant. To recap, we looked at creating a guest experience and basic sales techniques. A happy guest is always open to a sale, and whether it's a special word or an added treat off the menu, small changes can make a major difference. The best way to become accustomed to these techniques and to use them confidently is to practice them, just as Mike is off to do now. Know your guest. To successfully make a sale, you have to understand your audience. In our case, the audience is the guest. But various types of guests will dine at your restaurant. So in order to have a successful service, you need to be able to identify which type of guest you're serving and exactly the type of service they will appreciate. With that in mind, let's look at the guest profile and using profiling to anticipate guests' needs. A guest profile is a basic description that details important information about your guest. This information comes to you in various forms, but the most crucial features to remember are your guest's booking information, as well as appearance, age, and behavior. Information guests provide in their booking is extremely valuable. Of course, it tells you how many guests to expect, but can also guide you in what sort of area to reserve, and even allergies or dietary preferences. These are all clues that prepare you for a specific kind of service. If you're expecting a large party, what noise levels might you expect, and where should you seat them? You can use this information before your guests even arrive. Upon their arrival, you can further profile your guests by taking into account their appearance, which is everything from the way they do their hair to the clothes they wear, as well as their age and behavior. We aren't suggesting you stereotype everyone who walks through your restaurant's doors. Rather, focus on the details. Each guest profile will be different, but it's how you adapt to every profile that really matters. Next, let's discuss using profiling to anticipate guests' needs. Profiling gives you an advantage when it comes to service. It makes anticipating guests' needs much easier. A pair of businessmen having a work lunch will want to be seated in a quiet area so they aren't disturbed, while a couple celebrating a special occasion will want to be seated in a romantic part of the restaurant. Each guest's profile will be different, and as a result, each of their needs will be different too. Fulfilling these needs builds their trust in you and allows for more opportunities to build your add-on sales technique. Let's put you to the test. Use the basics of profiling to decide which mystery guest we have behind our door. According to their booking, you have a guest who will be dining alone. When the guest arrives, they're wearing a suit and carrying a laptop bag, appear to be in their 30s, and request the Wi-Fi password. What kind of guest do we have here? Quite correct, a businessman. This businessman has specific needs. Offer a quiet table near a plug point to start. He orders a coffee as he is seated, and his behavior communicates that he'd like to be left alone. From this information, you can adapt your service. Efficient, discreet service is what's needed here, along with continually identifying opportunities to keep the orders for more coffee coming. To recap, we looked at the guest profile and using profiling to anticipate guests' needs. By understanding your guests' profiles, you're able to deliver service that exceeds their expectations. Pay close attention to the details. Satisfying the smallest need encourages guests to keep returning, which is the ultimate contribution to your restaurant's revenue. Confidence is key. Creating a superb dining experience takes more than just knowing which sales techniques to use and how to profile your guest. You need to supplement these skills with expert recommendations to ensure that your service is successful for both you and your restaurant. To learn how you can make these expert recommendations, let's look at knowing your product and presenting an effective sales pitch. Let's start with knowing your product. Mike prepares for service by profiling his guests. He uses the information from one booking to prepare for a very special occasion, a honeymoon. During setup, Mike prepares some roses for the table. As the guests arrive, he seats them in a romantic corner and lights a candle. He is friendly and engaging. But that's when things fall apart. Mike is only prepared as far as seating his guests. When the guests ask for his recommendations, he's lost for words. Having thorough knowledge of your menu prevents awful moments like this, and it's important that you study your restaurant's range of products to ensure you're prepared at the table. So, how do you go about this? Learn your menu by printing out a physical copy so you can make notes on it. Match complementary items together and write down the very best descriptive words you can use to explain every dish. Speak to your manager to learn which items have high profit margins and mark these on your menu. Profit margins are determined by subtracting the cost price of a dish from its selling price. In more simple terms, items with high profit margins bring more profit to your restaurant. They're the items that boost your restaurant's revenue the most. Now, let's look at presenting an effective sales pitch. Learning your menu is only the first step in delivering a great pitch. That menu has to become a sell. Write out the words you say to your guests. Include everything from your introduction to special recommendations like a script. Stick to the most important points and try a few strong options. You don't want every table to feel they're receiving the same rehearsed lines. Once you've got these points written down, practice your pitch on colleagues and friends and use their feedback to improve. It's also important to be as concise as possible. Don't ramble on. Keep your sales pitch approximately 30 seconds long. Remember, less is more. To recap, we looked at knowing your product and presenting an effective sales pitch. Product knowledge is a vital tool for any server. It gives you the confidence to offer valuable recommendations to your guests and makes your sales pitch much more enticing. Remember to learn about new items that are added to your menu and to practice selling them. Confidence is key. Sales through service. Knowing how to make a sale is very important, but putting yourself in a position to make that sale is just as crucial as actually making it. Truly great food and beverage servers know precisely when to make their sales, and that every interaction you have with guests is an opportunity to do so. With this in mind, we'll discuss identifying selling opportunities. Let's look at the key stages during service and the various sales opportunities at each. Stage 1. Introduction. The first opportunity you have to make a sale comes just after introducing yourself to your guests. Offer them a choice of still or sparkling bottled water. This way, you can make a sale before your guests have even looked at their menus. Stage 2. Drinks. Profiling your guests is important for taking drink orders, as you're able to suggest drinks that both complete the guest's experience and increase revenue. For example, guests celebrating a special occasion present a great opportunity to upsell to champagne. Stage 3. Recommendations and orders. Take into account what your guests have ordered, as this gives you the opportunity to make recommendations and sell add-on items. Offer complimentary items that will improve their experience and increase their check. For example, you can suggest oysters to guests who have ordered champagne. Stage 4. Enhancing the experience. You can enhance your guests' experience by anticipating their needs and responding to them promptly. By monitoring the tables and noticing when a guest needs something, you can be proactive by approaching the guest to offer what they need. Stage 5. Digestifs and dessert. There is always an opportunity to sell. If your guests refuse one of your recommendations, don't give up. Recommend something else that you think would be a value add to their experience. Remember to base these recommendations on your guest profiles. For example, if you offer dessert to 2 businessmen, but they decline, suggest they have a nightcap in the bar. You could even offer them some cigars. Stage 6. Departure. Don't stop selling until your guests have walked out the door. Their departure presents the last opportunity for you to earn more money from them. Inquire about their plans for the next day and cross-sell your establishment's departments to make suggestions that will improve their experience and increase your revenue. For example, you can suggest that your guests book a spa day the next day. Remember, product knowledge extends to more than just your menu. It encompasses everything that you can offer to your guests. From the moment you introduce yourself to your guests up until they leave your restaurant, you are presented with multiple opportunities to make sales. Taking advantage of each of these opportunities is a surefire way to ensure a successful, lucrative service for yourself and your restaurant. Tips for success. Adapting your service to make it as well-rounded and lucrative as possible takes more than knowing the hard facts about selling. You need to be aware of the small details and recognize when they present an opportunity for you to make excellent sales. With that in mind, let's look at practical tips to sell. Tip 1. Orientation of the restaurant. As you lead your guests to their table, point out the restaurant's wine collection, the cigar bar, or any other exciting features that will grab their attention. This prompts your guest to try one of the offerings. It also allows you to refer back to the offerings during service. For example, when you present the menu to your guests, you can ask whether they would like you to recommend a wine from the collection that will pair well with their food choices. Tip 2. The showstopper. Showstopper dishes are those that draw guests' attention. So when delivering these dishes to your guests, take the route around the restaurant that allows you to pass as many other guests as possible. This way, you show the dish to more guests, which could result in them ordering the same thing. This is especially valuable if these showstopper dishes have a high profit margin. Tip 3. Time of day. The time of day creates opportunities for you to maximize on the revenue you generate for that service. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you should adapt your selling to create appropriate sales. For example, you can suggest a guest order a takeaway coffee if they're in a rush to get their day started. Every guest has different needs, and therefore each service presents a unique opportunity to sell. Tip 4. Choice of words. You can easily guide your guests' choices with the words you use when selling. Include words and phrases such as a little bit of, on the side, with a touch of, and smidgen when suggesting small but excellent additions to their meals. This implies that they're getting something that will add value to their experience, but without it costing them too much more. Tip 5. Keeping the door open. Create opportunities to sell more to your guests at a later stage of their dining experience by informing them when and why you will return to their table. This serves to prepare your guests so that they are comfortable, willing to listen to the recommendations you make, and so that you don't disrupt them upon your return. You can say something as simple as, "I will be back to take your drinks order shortly, sir," to keep the door open for your return. Once you feel that you are comfortable enough with these practical sales tips, you can begin implementing them into your service. Using them effectively and in conjunction with a hard fact you already know about selling will result in a service that impresses guests, thereby encouraging them to spend more at your restaurant. Conclusion. You have now come to the end of your restaurant upselling journey. Throughout this journey, you were introduced to the knowledge and tools that you will use to make your service lucrative and keep your guests coming back for more. It's up to you to carry on with this journey and build upon the skills you have gained. You can never stop learning to be a successful food and beverage server. Let's recap what you have learned from this course. The first thing you learned was about upselling, downselling, and add-on selling. These sales techniques will aid you in creating a better guest experience by making suggestions that, in turn, increase your revenue. Then, we covered guest profiles. Taking into account your guest's booking details, appearance, age, and behavior will aid you in creating a memorable experience for them, while at the same time contributing to your revenue. After that, you learned about the importance of having solid product knowledge and how to gain this knowledge. You also saw how to prepare a sales pitch that you can use to entice your guests, encouraging them to spend money to have an excellent dining experience. Next, you learned that there are opportunities to sell during every interaction you have with guests, at every stage in the sequence of service. Taking the initiative to sell guests at these various stages assures them that you are taking every opportunity to improve their experience, and by doing so, you contribute greatly to your revenue. And then you learned a few practical tips that you can implement as soon as you start your next shift. These tips will help you provide amazing service for guests from the moment you greet them to the moment you bid them farewell. Now it's time for you to put what you have gained from this course into practice. Use the knowledge and tools you now possess to set goals. How many dishes do you want to upsell in a week? How many of your recommendations do you want your guests to accept in a week? Which products do you want to sell as add-ons to guests? Excelling at your job is now well within your grasp, but this only marks the beginning of your learning journey. Take what you have learned from the restaurant upselling course and continuously add to it. Every one of your shifts is an opportunity for you to learn new ways to sell to your guests and progress as a successful server.